People move, and a lot of them are choosing to move to Minnesota. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about who is moving here and the reasons that they give me for making that choice. Do any of these reasons sound familiar to you? I'm really interested to know what kind of things would make you move from one state to another. Hi, I'm Schumann. I'm a realtor here in the Twin Cities, and I make videos for people that want to know about the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, Minnesota in general, and what the housing market looks like here. If that's you, hit the subscribe button because that's the kind of content I put on my channel. And reach out if you have questions. My contact information is just down below in the description box. I had a realtor in Massachusetts reach out to me and ask me if it was hard to get business here because she thought that no one wanted to move to or live in Minnesota. And I nearly choked laughing because that could not be further from the truth. Nearly everyone that I work with as a realtor is actively making the choice to move to Minnesota from somewhere else. I moved here from out of state. I can relate in a lot of ways to the reasons that I hear coming from the people that I help. Over the past 18 months, the pandemic has also drastically changed the way that people think about where they live and their ability to work in ways that they might find more attractive. A couple of trends that I'm noticing are people moving to the north from the southern states. I talked to a lot of people making the move from Texas. Fully 25% of the people that I have actually helped relocate to Minnesota are from Texas. Other areas that have a higher than average draw have been Florida and the West Coast. So what makes someone pick up stakes and move across the country? I would say that the number one thing that everyone I have worked with has in common is that they have work flexibility, meaning that most of them have jobs that are remote and they can make a choice about where they wish to live while working from home. When you're not tied to a particular city or state, you can think about the way that you want to live your life and actively choose a lifestyle that suits you. Minnesota was ranked number 2 by U.S. News and World Report for best states to live in, and they look at several different metrics. Some of them are weighed more heavily than others. Minnesota ranked well on things like access to health care, quality and accessibility of education, the economy, investment in infrastructure, and opportunity. Our economy here is strong, so even if you're not working from home, the Minneapolis area is home to about a dozen Fortune 500 companies, as well as the thousands of smaller companies that support them and other industries. Our unemployment rate here is consistently lower than the rest of the United States. A year ago, the United States was at nearly 8%, and we were sitting at 5.8%. Now we're at 3.7% here in Minnesota versus 4.8% for the U.S. as a whole. It is a trend that I've been looking at over time, and it stays consistently better here from a jobs perspective. While we do have a housing shortage here and homes are in high demand, prices for homes in the Twin Cities are still a deal for many people that are moving from really hot housing markets like Austin, Seattle, San Diego, and parts of Florida. Many of the people that I've had the privilege to help have been in the very fortunate place of having a home to sell in which they have a lot of equity built up, either due to having owned for a long time and paid down their mortgage, or because of a combination of that and the fact that the market that they're coming from is crazy and they're able to get an amazing return on their home when they sell it there, and they can translate that sale into something even better here. While the micro view on housing here is that it is rapidly getting more expensive and there aren't enough homes to go around, the view from other parts of the United States looking in at us is that it's an affordable place to live with a high quality of life. In addition to being able to buy more for your money here than other areas of the country, people have told me that they want to move for things like environmental reasons. They are tired of living in cycles of drought and fire, flooding, or being worried about the water supply, or they're simply just not crazy about the way that the infrastructure is handled in other parts of the country. If you have to deal with rolling blackouts in the summer or electrical grids that fail in winter, causing all kinds of other problems, it can be the push that you need to make a move to another area. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, weather. I think the South has a well-deserved reputation for being a place that people move to, and there is no doubt that a large portion of the population actively chooses to avoid cold weather and snow as much as possible. But what is equally true is that there is a large proportion of the population that actually really enjoys experiencing a full 4 seasons. Minnesota basically has all 4 seasons on a timer, and every 3 months, someone flips the switch and you're in the next one. You'll hear lots of talk from people that don't actually live here about never-ending winter and how cold it is all the time here. But as I record this, we're coming up to Thanksgiving. We walked our dogs in long-sleeved shirts with fleece jackets this morning, and it was more than fine. I've said it in other videos, but I'm going to say it again here. People in Minnesota really enjoy winter, and I don't know if it's the Nordic heritage of a lot of the people here, or just the fact that winter is a fact of life, and you're better off making the best of it than spending several months in misery because you've chosen to be angry about something that you can't change. I really can't imagine that agent that made that comment to me about how undesirable it is to live somewhere that gets cold, making a similar comment to an agent working in a place like Colorado. People flock there for a lot of the same reasons that they come here. They want to be able to enjoy a lifestyle that includes spending a lot of time outside. Minnesota is a progressive state, and that means that they invest heavily in education and have the ranking to prove it. There is an emphasis on quality public K-12 schools here, as well as supporting the nearly 3 dozen colleges and universities that the state has to offer. 60% of the state's population lives in the Twin Cities metro area, and that means that everything that you like about an urban lifestyle is right here. That means good restaurants, theater, lots of things to do. We may be in flyover country, but the beauty is that we have access to a lot of what I loved about living in Chicago, but this place doesn't swallow you whole. I don't actually mind living in flyover country because it kind of keeps it special. So if you're someone that wants balance, you don't want to turn your back on all the things that the city offers, you want to have access to nature, and you like being part of a bigger community, maybe Minneapolis is for you. If you're interested in seeing what the neighborhoods and suburbs around the Twin Cities look like and getting some information about each of them, check out my playlist. I'll have a link to that at the end of this video. I'm constantly adding new videos to that playlist, and it has a lot of good information for people that are curious about what Minnesota is like. Okay, we scored highly on infrastructure in U.S. News & World Report as well, and the Twin Cities Metro is where you're going to find the bulk of the people, the jobs, and the infrastructure. But despite this, the governor is making a hard push to upgrade broadband internet access throughout the rural areas of the state, and they are also continuing to reinforce their commitment to clean energy by expanding the network of public charging stations for electric vehicles out into those rural parts of the state as well. If businesses and individuals are looking to relocate, one of the things that we hear all the time is that they need to have access to broadband internet and other elements of well-cared-for infrastructure to move data, people, products where they need to be. One piece of infrastructure that I see often that may be surprising is solar panels. I've often thought of solar as being something that would be more prominent in the South, but there is a heavy solar presence here in Minnesota, and there are a lot of incentives for people to make their homes tighter and more energy efficient in general. If you're coming from out of state, but you really like your friends and relatives that you left behind, you won't be trapped here at the holidays. It's easy to visit your friends and family by catching direct flights to large parts of the country and around the world through MSP International Airport. I guess what I'm getting at is that quality of life is very high in Minnesota, and that's why I see so many people choosing to move here from out of state. And I love it. I feel like an ambassador to the North. I have been so lucky to meet a lot of really great people that have decided to make the move here. If you have questions, please reach out. I'm happy to help.